Again, and hopefully it works. All right. Yay! Here we go. Yay. All right. All right, now if we just get Garrett in there. Get him in there real quick. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, guys. This is what happens when you try to do things differently, right? Yay! All right. We did it!
We did it!
Oh my god, I'm so happy we did it!
Person!
It's a real person. I can see you and everything. All right. So now that we've got people watching us and we've got
oh shit! There's people watching already.
Right? Yeah. And
God.
we have to apologize in advance to anybody watching. We're already a little crazy because of technical difficulties, and we're here. We're here.
Yeah.
So what's up, man?
Space.
This is safe space. How are you doing, man?
Nothing. I'm fine. Going
awesome.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Oh no, are we not supposed to curse on this show?
You know what? I don't care. As long as we're getting
I feel like
to the
it's
point,
pretty
right?
on brand, so if I don't curse, someone's going to think I'm an imposter. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm going with
like,
that.
oh, that's not Garrett. Yeah.
Like, Garrett would definitely drop at least 2 F-bombs in there accidentally and 1 on purpose.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm all right. I'm just chilling, dude. Just hanging out.
Awesome.
You?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So we're in the new office now. We've had a lot of changes recently. But
is that the office that has all the beautiful pictures of everybody's books except mine?
Oh no, yours too. We've got yours on the wall too. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
We do, and you're actually on the front window. Even we got war corns on the front. window.
I do know that. I did see that on on somebody's picture of like the office. I was like, those are pretty boys right there.
I love it. I love it.
Front window. What's up, dude?
Oh,
How
man.
are you? That's the real question.
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. So we've got quite a few people in here enjoying our show here.
What?
So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make sure that we're talking to people here. Yay! There we go.
How do I see? Do I need to like watch the stream on the SourcePoint page so I can see chat?
You can. What I used to do is actually watch it on my phone, and now I've got another computer here, so it's like, okay, I got to figure out how to do
2 monitors too, because I am also hip. Yeah.
Oh,
hip
you were
with
hip
the
before.
gaming kids. Yeah, so I'm. Let's see.
There you go.
Yeah,
Hey,
okay,
George said
let me
hi.
turn my audio off. There we go.
So,
everyone's all there. He is.
So everybody, welcome to a late edition of Get to the Point. We are here with Garrett Gunn. Garrett, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
I am Garrett Gunn. I write comics, kinda, and other things. I am the creator of Franklin and Ghost and Warcorns, Combat Unicorns for Hire, among a bajillion other things, Boxmasters, although I don't really know if I'm allowed to take like creator credit for that because I'm like stealing Billy Bob Thornton's identity. I write comics. Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
it. Like that's
what I usually go through with everybody when we do interviews is I ask them a little bit about how they got into the industry, what led them here, and ask them about current projects and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started.
I didn't know this was going to be the hard-hitting questions, Chris.
Oh yeah, this is definitely Frost versus Nixon right here. Who is who? We'll have to figure out, right?
God damn it.
So
anyway,
so
what
tell
do you
us,
want to know, bro?
Tell us a little bit about how Garrett Gunn got into comic books.
Oh, all right. So it's so anticlimactic. Like people are like, "Oh my god, what did you do?" And I'm like, "I have joined Facebook." I don't know. That was it. I wrote my first comic when I was deployed. I have never been one to follow instructions properly. And my psychiatrist that I was assigned while I was deployed was like, we're going to try like some like writing stuff. We're going to get these emotions out on paper. And I was like, well, that's dumb because that just sounds boring. So I was like, you know what? This chick doesn't know my life. I was like, I'm going to create a fictional story of like what I've gone through in my life and turn that into her, which I did. And she never questioned me, which I'm sure probably she knew it was a lie. She just was like, this guy's fucking nuts, dude. So I wrote a story. I came back from deployment. My wife was like, whoa, like my wife found it. She was like, this is cool. Like, you should make this a real comic. And I was like, fucking why? Like, I was like, she's like, because you've always loved comics. Like, you should just like make it and you'll have a comic you made. And I was like, that's pandering as fuck, but thank you. Like, yes, like, look at what you made. So I did. I made it a book. I posted about it online. I used Kickstarter to fund it. Like, before Kickstarter was even, like, I think this was 2013. Mm-hmm. Like, it was, like, way before, like, I was super knowledgeable about Kickstarter or anything. It had, like, 25 backers. Like, I had to beg my parents to, like, finish the funding because it, like, made no money. And I made the first book, and a publisher saw it through the Kickstarter campaign, and they were like, hey, we'll publish this. And I was like, cool. So I let them publish it. They sold, like, they printed, like, 200 of them. They sold them, and they were like, we need the sequel. Like, where's number 2 come out? I was like, I never planned to make a second one. So I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'll write a second book. I wrote a second one, and then a third one, and then a fourth one. And, like, by the time I got to, like, 3, I was like, this story sucks. Like, this is not good. Like, it's so bad. I didn't even want, like, I made number 4, and I was like, at that point, like, I was just trying to find things to put in the book to, like, make it make sense. Like, and I actually, and Stan Yak was drawing that issue because, like, I had, like, replaced the artist because he was, like, super unreliable. And I was just like Stan would ask me questions like, why is this like this? And I'm like, don't ask questions. We just got to make sense of this. Something's got to happen here. And at that point, I'd already started writing like other things because this publisher was like, what? Do you write anything else? And I was like, yes, I do.
As a matter of fact, I do.
I don't, but I'm going to go home and write something else. So, like, I started writing other things, and I was like, man, these other things are so much better than this thing. So I ended up, like, canceling the book, and, like, I didn't even, like, I put out number 4, like, only through, like one convention I went to, and that was it. And then after that, I just, like, started writing other things. It was just so, it's just so boring. Like, it's such a boring story.
No, everybody got in here one way or another.
I know you're supposed to say that because you're, like, leading the interview and you're like, we've got to prop up our creators. Also, right? Garrett shit. Like,
also, Garrett just weaseled his way in here. That's what it was, you know.
My entire career in comics is me with a drink at a table being like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
Hey,
like, that's it.
That's adulting, which you don't realize.
Like, hey, who are you? And I'm like, nobody.
That's adulting. That's completely it. We fake it till we make it. You go into a public place and you just act like you own it, or at least that you're supposed to be there, and then you move on from there. You make connections, you build relationships, and
people are like, "What do you write?" I tell them, they're like, "I've never heard of that." I'm like, "Yeah, it's big in Canada."
There you go.
And they're like, "Oh, really? I'm from Canada." I'm like, "Did I say Canada? I meant Australia."
And his friend pops up. Oh, yeah. Hey, g'day, mate. What you writing, eh?
And I'm like, ah! I just run away. Just exit the building. Yeah.
Oh man. So run through. We talked briefly about some of your titles and some of your IPs. Run through your titles chronologically, just to let people know what to look for.
Okay.
Is like, 7? I
really need a list. I think it's 15.
15. Oh, awesome.
I think I always lose track because like the last interview I did, they did the same exact thing, and I went through them. My wife was like in the background, like, what about this one? And I was like, oh fuck, I forgot that was in there. The very first thing I ever wrote was a book called Days to Come. That's the book I'm telling you that's like super ass. It's the worst thing. I burned like 300 copies of it at my property, like that I lived before this, just to get rid of them. I was like, I don't want the world to see this. Get it out of here.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's terrible. I wrote Days to Come. Then after Days to Come, I wrote a book called The Fear Diaries, which is like an all-ages book. Another super original book about stuffed animals that fight nightmares. I went from that to writing a book called Go West, which is this beautiful being right here that you can't see, you can just see his legs. That was like that story is the one that I wrote like that's what the one that I wrote when I was deployed turned into, because I was like, oh, this is shitty, the first one I made, so I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna mix it all up and make it better.
Awesome.
So I made Go West. After Go West, I wrote Box Masters. After Box Masters, I wrote Franklin and Ghost, which was originally written in like 2016, 2017. Franklin and Ghost. After Franklin and Ghost, I did. Oh my God, there's so many things. I'm like, see, I'm already just like blanking. I wrote a book for SourcePoint that hasn't come out yet, which is called Task Force Hybrid. I wrote another book called Calamity that was in SourcePoint Presents. Beardzilla, which was also in SourcePoint Presents. I wrote Warcorns and Spiro, and I'm writing Familiars right now, which is like the newest thing. And there's like a couple others in there that are probably not worth.
Cold Dead Hands?
Oh, yes! See? And that's like the best one I've ever written! And I already forgot it. That's how memorable it is. Cold Dead Hands. I like how you did this.
Yeah.
And I thought you were saying 4. Like, I was like, 4? What the fuck? Yeah. Cold Dead Hands, which was right before Familiars.
Yeah.
I fucking love that book so much, too. I can't believe I forgot it, too, because it's so good. I love it.
And so, look, I know that you're going to be revisiting that. So tell everybody that's watching us what you have coming out on the horizon, because I know we're going to be receiving some new comics on Tuesday, I believe, to send out. And I believe the new first issue of Warcorns is going to be in there. So hopefully...
Yeah, so the one-shot's going to be in there, yeah. So as of right now, the things that are coming out is the Warcorns one-shot, which came out technically last year through Kickstarter. We funded it through Kickstarter. And that's sort of just it's meant to be just like a tie into the Franklin and Ghost universe. Like, hey, there's these cool unicorns. Like, they're super badass. Like, they're hired to hunt down these big idiots. Whether they succeed or fail is up to you to decide in the comic. But it was just supposed to be like a very. I didn't know how it was going to be received, because I wanted to write this super awesome military book, and I was like, man, what'll piss off all my other fellow soldiers from when I was in, more than me making them fucking glittery rainbow unicorns. And I'm gonna fill it with military tropes and super cliche shit, all the insults that soldiers know about each other. And I was like, I'm just gonna put it in one big book, and then if everybody hates it, it's a one shot, and I never have to touch it again. But people didn't hate it.
Yeah.
So now I was like, oh shit. After I did that Kickstarter, this no exaggerate, at least almost a message a day of people being like, when's the next Warcorns come out? When's the next Warcorns? I still get Kickstarter messages from backers that are like, hey, I needed the next issue. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta make it. So Warcorns one shot comes out this next week, I think. Then after that, I don't think I have anything in stores until Cold Dead Hands #1 comes out. Which is actually soliciting next month.
Yeah.
Solicits in August for a October release, which I think is kind of funny because it's basically like a Halloween story.
So it'll be perfect timing, yeah.
Around Halloween, yeah. And that's a sequential, Cold Dead Hands 1, 2, and 3 is back-to-back, a monthly book.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, yes. These people talking shit.
Bites of Ink is saying what unit? 2-1 Cav, 4-2 ID here, 07, 08, 09, 10.
4-2. I was with some 4th ID people. I was with 4th ID. Oh, he's 2 ID. When I was in, I went to Fort Hood, Texas, the great place. I was stationed on West Fort Hood, which was where they send all the intel people to go. The Cav units and the intel guys are there. They're go away from main post. So like I was on West Fort Hood. I was in a unit called the 501st Battlefield Surveillance Brigade, which was in like support of 38th Cav, where like that's where I deployed from. So I deployed from there with 38, like with the Cav unit, and like went to Afghanistan to do like basically tactical intel work.
Awesome.
And after that, I went from there and I was like, man, I'm gonna go like somewhere cool after this. And I went to Hawaii, which is like the worst place ever. And I was at a unit called 500 MI, and that's where I worked for NSA and like a bunch of the alphabet companies, doing like strategic intel, a bunch of stuff like that, a bunch of boring shit. It's cool. It's like some Tom King shit, but like it's not as cool probably as Tom King thinks it is.
Well, it's like the those new commercials they have that are trying to recruit for the CIA. Have you seen those?
Oh God, yes.
God, they're hilarious. They're like, so do you want to be into espionage? And it's just like, yes, I do. As a matter of fact,
I do. I also want to be in a video game. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's so funny because like people, like I talk to people all the time about like, people are like, man, you worked at the NSA? That's so badass. I'm like, is it though? I was like, it's not at all.
It's like trying to
basically. I could have worked at like Blue Cross.
Oh yeah,
like that's the same shit. Like,
but it's like when people try to fictionalize and sensationalize hacking.
Oh yeah,
they're like, oh, it's
everybody wants
all these
a marketing tool.
Three-dimensional, polygonal graphics that are showing up on the screen. Oh, I've got to hack the Gibson. You know,
it's the equivalent of just like even like being a cop, and people are like, man, I'm gonna be a detective. No, you're not. You're gonna be a traffic cop. Go fucking wave cars. Like that's it. It's the same thing. Yeah. I was like, man, this sucks. I want to go back to Afghanistan. At least that was like, it was dangerous, but it was like fun. Like this is boring.
Oh, I love it. So, being that you have the history in the military, and you've now moved on to being an author, and do you?
That's a nice way of putting it.
Right. Well, do you also have something that's a day job?
I'm an author.
Yeah.
What?
Do you also have something that is your day job now? Do you do something other than create stuff?
No.
Good.
Which I think is like the only way I can like get as much done as I get done.
So now, unfortunately, we've also exposed that you have no excuses for any of your backers or fans.
No, I work 80 hours a week. What do you mean?
They're going to be like, oh, he should be able to pump one of these out a month, right? That's what they do with the big two.
God. Yeah, well, if I was making big two money, I'd be pumping out one a month.
Oh, man, everybody wants that, though.
Right? I know. It's so... I really don't, to be honest. Like, I really have no... People... When I tell people, like, people locally will ask me, like, people making chit-chat, they're like, what do you do? And I don't want to be like, well, I'm a lazy, like, retired military idiot. So I'm like, oh, I write comic books. And they're like Spider-Man? I'm like, no, dude, like, there's so much more than that. Like, but, like, I really have zero desire to write for Marvel and DC. Like, it really sounds awful. Like, I know people that have written and drawn for those companies, and I'm like, that sounds bad. Like, it does not sound appealing.
Yeah, well, like the video game industry, people are like, oh, I want to work for Rockstar, and then like the expose comes out, and people are like, no, it's like 100 hours a week.
You're right. You're gonna work for Rockstar. You're gonna code 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
No, never mind. I don't want it. Yeah. Have you seen, this is totally off topic, but it has to do with the video game thing. Have you seen, there's an Apple show that I just finished called Mythic Quest?
No, I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, it's on my list, though.
Oh, my God. It's so funny. It's got Mac from Always Sunny in it.
Nice.
And he plays like what everybody thinks you're going to do at a video game company, right? He's the creative director, and he's like, we're going to make a shovel that decapitates people. Like, and then all the coders are miserable, and they're like, oh my God, there's so much that has to go into that. Like as they're working, and he just comes with this ridiculous. He's Travis McIntyre. He is like, he comes in and he's like, do this thing, and Josh is like, why?
And then Josh and Nolan spend hours trying to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
don't even start. Don't even start. I think UPS is delivering comics as we speak, and my dogs are just like, oh fuck, I was sleeping. There's someone here. Danger.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yeah. To war.
So talking about doing other things though, and the actual exciting side of this industry,
Yes.
we have something that we actually, through one of my connections, helped us launch a global first, news story on, and when we dropped the trailer for something that's coming out. Some of the people watching know about this already. Some of them don't know, but it is public knowledge. So go ahead and tell them about.
Do I even know what you're talking about?
It's the animated series that's coming. It's in production,
okay.
I should say. So go ahead and talk about
this
that.
big thing up. I was like, are you about to tell me something that I don't know? Then?
Surprise! We have a Warcorns full action movie.
TV show yeah, I mean, what do you want to know? I mean, Franklin and Ghost, the animated series.
Yeah, so tell everybody a little bit about who's involved and where it's going to land in the story.
So, basically, God, it's so much. It's hard to just be telling people about this. What do I tell them? There's so many things. Franklin and Ghost, the animated series, it's being animated by some friends of ours based out of Ireland, Dublin. It stars Billy Bob Thornton, Sean Schemmel, who's the voice of Goku from Dragon Ball Z, a bajillion other things. Chris Sabat, the voice of Vegeta and All Might from My Hero Academia, greatest show on television. It's also got Veronica Taylor, the original voice of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, who is the love of my life. She's the sweetest, most wonderful person I've ever met.
That's awesome.
And it's just crazy. There's so much going on with this. So we dropped a trailer last October, which was a really little 1 minute snippet. Check out this thing. This is, and it was a very early version. I mean, I've seen what the animation has become now, and it was a very early rendition of how the animation was going to look. And it was here's your idea of just this. There's these idiots and they're in space, and obviously, this is the dynamic between these characters. Check this out. Yeah. It was on IGN. We had a spotlight on IGN. We had tons of stuff. We did a cast signed poster release at New York, in conjunction with the trailer thing. So it's currently in development right now. We, I think, at the end of the month. Are going to be having / releasing the full 3-minute trailer of the show. For those that have read the comic, it's the show is set to take place right from the first page. When we started initially talking about the TV show, we were do we want this to be a different story? Do we want it to be set in the future of this universe, where these characters are established? And it just you just jump into the story and just have to be oh shit, there's all these people and what's going on and whatever. But when we sat down to design the show, there was too much involved in it's too many important pieces early in the story that kind of set up the dynamic of this whole thing. So I was you know what? I think we need to use literally the first book as the jumping off point. And even the trailer, when you see the full trailer, I don't know if you've seen parts of it.
I've seen parts of it, yeah.
Parts of it? It's very, very true to the source material, which was a very big thing.
Let's see.
I'm not one of those people, I really can't stand when people are this isn't how it happened in the book. Right. Because to me, you have to understand that things don't translate necessarily to other media. Yeah. Directly, right? When something goes from a comic to a movie, or a movie to a board game, or a board game to, a TV show, there's pieces of that puzzle that have to change in order to fit that media. So, my big thing that I told Ireland from the very beginning when we had our first meeting, I was look, I don't care what we do, as long as, I don't care if we change the story, I don't care if, characters look a little different, as long as the core values and morals and ideas behind the characters stay the same.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't care if Franklin looks a little different, or I don't care if Delilah looks a little different, or Ghost, or whatever. But as long as how I, all the gears and motor are the same, that are fueling this psychotic thrill ride. That's what it has to stay true to, not necessarily the visual aesthetic. So you, when they came back, it was the same. Yeah. And they were here you go. And I was fuck, this looks like the comic. this is the comic book. And they're like, yeah, it was good enough. Like, why change it? I
love it.
All right.
my dream for that, though, is to eventually have the Warcorns animated and crossover, and I want Terry Crews to do Gunny. I swear I would lose my shit.
So, okay,
I want Terry Crews to do Gunny.
Here's the thing. Okay, I am totally on board. I think Terry Crews is like one of the greatest humans that's ever lived. He's the Black Keanu Reeves. Like Terry Crews, I could watch him fucking just talk into a camera for hours.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, he's such a beautiful man, and like both physically and emotionally and everything. Like, he's just perfect. Perfectly imperfect, I'm sure. Because someone will be like, "Well, that one time Terry Crews did something shitty," and I'm like, "Yeah, but he's also still perfect." So like, I agree with that idea of having like Terry Crews and Warcorns. However, I really want, it's my goal to have those characters played by actual veteran voice actors.
Oh, that'd be
so
cool
that
too.
Like, it's very like, because there's a lot of
the banter and the
There's
timing,
a lot of organic attitude that's going to come out of people, and there's actors that are well established that are veterans. Like, I very much want to have Rob Riggle in Warcorns.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I very much like want to have these other people. Like, we've already talked about this. Like, this is already sort of happening. Like, not happening, but we've even considered doing like an audio drama of Warcorns as sort of like a promotional tool, like bringing those actors in, recording them, making a little audio show.
Nice.
And like, there's lots of, I would love, he's not military, but I would love like Patrick Warburton to be in it.
Yes.
Like,
I love
Patrick Warburton. Like, my dream team is like Patrick Warburton, Rob Riggle, Terry Crews is pretty high. Like, if it was non-veteran, like Terry Crews is definitely, like, he would definitely be in there. Just a bunch of like huge muscly idiots.
Oh yeah. That's perfect.
Like, also, I may or may not be buddies with the original voice of Wolverine. And so, like, I told Cal, I was like, look, if we ever make Warcorns, I really want you to be this character in this thing. And he was like, I'll totally do it. He was like, whatever you want. You're going to meet, like, when the new Warcorns series comes out.
You got to drop a bub in there.
Yeah.
He's going to drop a little Easter egg, a bub.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I go where I want to go.
I love it, yeah.
So, like, it's going to be like, once the one shot comes out, we have a whole mini series that's planned that's like coming out. Like, we've already finished the first issue. Like, it's a 4-part mini series. And in that 4-part mini series, you kind of go, it's called Back to Basics. We kind of go back in the story to them going through basic training, being selected for Warcorns Division, all this stuff. And you meet their squad leader, their original squad leader, which is Staff Sergeant Kill.
Yep.
And Staff Sergeant Kill is like, Ernie Lee, like he's like the Full Metal Jacket drill sergeant. Like, I am old as fuck. I've been doing this for 25 years. I got no time for your shit. Like, all their former team is dead, and like, this guy is showing up to have all new recruits replacing his dead team, to be like, all right, sure, like, let's go.
Like,
and that character,
I love the smell. I love the smell of unicorn manure in the morning. Smells like victory.
Yes. And that character has to be Wolverine. Like, because I also think, like, Cal's Canadian, and I think it's funny that, like, it would be this, like, really shitty individual that's Canadian, because he's just like, Canadians are inherently nice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to just make him awful. Like, and like, he has to fight through the Canadian.
I think you're right. I think honestly, if a Canadian were to murder you in your own house, they would apologize.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
As they're stabbing you.
Right. It had to be done. I'm sorry. Yeah, because everyone I've met that we've worked with, and we work with quite a few people that are Native Canadians, and you know, they're so sweet and they're such a blast. You know, you look at Jay Clark, you look at Sean Daly. You know, I love those guys. We have such a great, diverse team of individuals, and we're getting more and more diverse as we grow and as we age, which is great, because we definitely need to bring in you know, more females, more minorities, and get an even more well-rounded view from our authors and our artists. But on that note, who has been your favorite partner to work with on any of your projects?
Oh my God! How are you gonna?
Sophie's Choice.
Make me choose.
It's the Sophie's Choice. I give everybody this Sophie's Choice. They got to kill one of the kids. I'm sorry.
So, I think it's a pretty easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before I say my answer, I will say that I have gotten to work with some incredibly talented people, like people
Awesome.
I should never be allowed to work with. Like they're on so far another level from me that like I'm like, why are you doing this? But there is one person that is probably responsible for like my entire comics career and like my continual like persistence in this business, and that's Nick Turtis.
That's awesome.
100%.
Awesome.
Nick changed my life in comics. Like I started working with Nick when like I was so burnt out and like I had been stolen from, lied to, like fucked around, like on everything. Yeah. And I was like, this is dumb. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't want to be in this business. Like, oh, cool. Like this Marvel Comics pro that stole $10,000 from me because I paid him up front for work and he just poof. Like that kind of shit. I was like, I don't want this to ruin comics for me. Yeah. Like, I'm going to quit. Like, this is dumb. I don't want to be doing this. And I had an obligation to fulfill the project that this guy stole this money for. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's when I started working with Nick. And I told Nick, I said, look, like, here's the situation. I love your art. This guy stole all the Kickstarter money for this. So like, can we work something out? Like, can you help me? And like, I'll pay you in chunks. I'll do whatever. And he was like, dude, this story is awesome. Like, let's do it. And he just like did the whole book, like back to back, finished the whole thing, gave it to me. Like I paid him in chunks, like after the book was done, like, and everything. And after that, it was like, when I went to make Franklin and Ghost, and I was like, I need something ridiculous. I need somebody like that's going to draw outlandish, weird, colorful craziness. I was like, there was only one person in mind, which was Nick.
Yeah.
Like I never auditioned anybody else to draw Franklin and Ghost. Like it went straight from my brain to Nick.
That's awesome.
And like that man continued to be the fuel behind like every time he drew a page of Franklin and Ghost, it inspired me to write more of it. Like I was like, the next issue, I already saw what Nick did on the last one, so now I'm going to do more, and I'm going to step it up even crazier and crazier and crazier. And like after that, we've worked on tons of stuff together. Like we've made 2 kids books together. We did Franklin and Ghost. Like we did. Hey, those are the 2 of the things that I forgot earlier. Yep. Right, my 2 kids books. Like we've done kids books together. We've done comics together. We've done. Worked on board game art together, like tons of stuff. And that man, like, to this day, if I'm like, dude, I need this thing, he's like, got it. 2 days later, it's like in my inbox, and it's like the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. Like,
I love it. That's fantastic.
It's crazy. He's also responsible for the entire look of Franklin and Ghost. Like over the history of that series, Nick has come to me and been like, I really I wasn't happy with how I made Franklin look last issue. Like, this is what I'm toying with. I really want to make him look like this. And he'll like send me a picture and I'm like, that's fucking awesome. I don't care what you do, man. Like, sure. Like, you never let me down. So like, why not? Carte blanche.
I love it. That's
and
great.
That man, like, and I've told him many times, he's incredible. And my biggest hope is that when this TV show happens, that like I can put his ass on a plane and bring him here from Argentina and can like put him on a stage and tell the world like, look at this man. He's so special. Like, that's it. Hearing it.
I love it.
Like, that's it. That's the only thing I care about.
That's fantastic. I love that.
That's the easiest question. But I will say that I have worked with other people that I'm like in awe of the amount of like raw talent that they have, that they're just like draw these things. And I'm like, what? This is so much better than the reference I gave you. Like, you just made my character look awesome. Like
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, it's nuts.
George McHale commented, and I love George. I actually met George in Portland, and hopefully he'll be part of our team soon. He says, when you find someone you can count on, you keep riding with them. And nothing truer has ever been said.
Very small group of people, like I could count on one hand, that I know no matter what the project is. Like, people ask, like, oh, yeah, you work with a lot of the same people. I'm like, yeah, because when I tell Staniak I need 30 pages in a month because something fell through and I have to make this project, guess what I have in a month? 30 fucking pages. And it's always amazing. Like, those people like him, people like Chris Williams, people like Nick, people like my buddy Michael Claro, and even like Sean Schemmel,
Yeah.
fucking like was now a business partner of mine. Like those people, every time I need something and I'm like, oh fuck, this thing happened, like we got to figure this out. Always handled.
Yep.
It's always done, and it's 90% of it is always because they did it. Like I am 10% of the process.
That's
those
fantastic.
people are the only reason it's successful.
I mean, a lot of the time with different projects, it's putting the right minds together to either get something written, get something drawn, get something illustrated, get something published. And that's one thing, working with a publisher like SourcePoint Press that thinks outside of the box and doesn't do just superhero stories. You know, it's been one of the greatest things over the last year and a half, 2 years of my life that I've enjoyed, not only getting to meet people and getting to travel places, but getting to work with people that are so passionate about what they do that even if it's not the highest quality or highest caliber according to industry standards, I like it even more because I know the passion that came in behind it. I know the voices, I know the personalities, I know the blood, sweat, and tears that went into projects. And a lot of those projects are even yours, you know, to see, you know, people come up and you know, and make you that life-size Spiro sword and things like that. Right. You know, it's like those things don't happen in other industries. You know, you don't have someone go, hey, you know, I work at the fire department. I decided to build this life-size, you know, tower and light it on fire so we can practice. You don't have people doing things like that as individuals. You know, maybe as groups or as you know, large you know, I don't know, collectives of people, but you don't have that the way you do in this industry, where someone will say, you know what, I see your passion, I love what you're doing, I see where it can go, and you know what, I'm going to help you get there. So. Yeah,
it's the whole way I was able to like build a business and like make people or have people like publish my things and whatever. Like Travis consistently will tell me like, this is a dumb fucking idea. He's like, but I know how passionate you are about it. I know how much energy you're going to put into it. I know that for whatever reason, you're going to make this good, or you're going to like make this happen. And he's like, so whatever. And I'm like, that's it. That's where I operate. That level of like, you don't have to like the thing, but I'm going to pour like a bajillion% of my soul into this. So yeah. And I like try as hard as I can to be like the most easy person to work with. Like people all the time are like, they like a new artist I work with, like bring me a thing and be like, so I did this thing and I'm just making sure, like, you know, I know this isn't like this, but like this is like this and whatever. And I'm like, looks good, dude. And they're like, that's it? They're like, yeah, but and I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, it looks cool. And they're like, yeah, but this isn't exactly what you sent me. And I'm like, I don't care. It looks cool. I like it.
Have you ever watched?
Let me give you money. And they're like, really? This feels like a trap. I don't know.
Have you ever seen the show New Girl?
No, but that's got one of my favorite actors in it, so I probably should. There's the guy that like the friend, the dude that was in Tag. Did you see the movie? Tag?
Yeah.
He's like the stoner guy.
Yeah.
I forget his name all the time. That dude's hilarious, and he's a New Girl, I think.
Yeah. The character that's played. There's one of the characters is an author, and he's writing this like Cajun New Orleans themed mystery novel. You know, it's like Sherlock Holmes in the Bayou. You know, and the hilarious thing is he writes this book and shows it to his roommates and his friends, and they're like, yeah, no notes, and he's like, no notes, what does that mean? And it's the same kind of feeling. It's like, I've got to rewrite everything. It's terrible. No notes. Everything. Nothing can be perfect. You know. Yeah. And that's exactly what it made me think.
After they're out of the room, and you're like, they hate it.
They hate it. Oh my god. Oh man. So how have you been doing during this? You know, this lack of conventions and the social distancing. Have you been able to take advantage of it and get some more stuff done?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not really that different from it. I mean, the only thing that's different is, like, the not going to conventions thing. Like, I try to be pretty active about, like, going to a lot of shows. Because I feel like, I don't know why I feel this way, too, because I'm like, oh, if people just, like, meet me, maybe they'll buy my thing. I don't know why. I don't know why I think that. Because, if anything, I probably am better behind the monitor, like, behind a keyboard, just sending messages. But like other than that, I mean, you know, I was already doing everything from home. I was already like, you know, all my work is done on a computer.
Yeah.
So like, it hasn't really been that different. Other than like, I'm like, damn, I can't go like get liquor at 2 a.m.
Yep.
Like, because I don't have a mask on, or I can't go get this because this place is closed because of quarantine, or whatever else. So I've just learned that like DoorDash is my friend.
Yes.
I've learned that like Amazon is my friend. I'm like, everything, just order everything.
Just ship it to my door.
But it's been okay. Like I've been playing a lot of video games. I've been writing a lot. Like I wrote 300 pages of Spiro over quarantine.
Fantastic. That's gonna be great.
Just like a lot of stuff. Like just a lot of writing, a lot of developing, a lot of like business stuff for like Last Wolf Legion, my company, and like making connections for other projects, like with the hopes like, oh, okay, we're about to, like, when we come out of quarantine, let's have this ready.
Right.
Like, let's do this thing after the world ends. But yeah, it's been super productive.
Cool.
Super productive.
That's great to hear. And so, what is your inspiration for writing? Do you have a favorite author, a favorite artist, a favorite IP, a favorite comic book, a movie? Where did you start with? Oh, there you go.
It's backwards because of my thing, but that says Magnola. That's it. Magnola and Bendis, man.
Yep.
Like Hellboy. Like it's all about Hellboy. Like that is the only book. Like I used to collect comics like a lot. Like I used to read like 30 books a week in my pull list. Like it's fucking crazy. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't have the space in my house. Like I have to go to trades or something. And it got to a point where I had so much, and then I started like having so many of my own comics.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I need storage space to like put my own things just so they're not all over my house. And so like I trimmed down, and when it came down to it, I'm like, the comic that's got me through years of like in entertainment is all Hellboy. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna get rid of everything that's not Hellboy, except for like obviously my friends' books that I have. But like, I mean, there's when people see Spiro, like I wrote a quote for like the beginning of the book where it's like I dedicated the book to J.R.R. Tolkien, R.L. Stein, Mike Mignola, and Brian Michael Bendis, and I was like I walk in the shadows of giants. Like that's it. Like those four people are like essentially responsible for like everything I make.
That's fantastic.
Like,
I love it.
Yeah, and so like that's definitely it's kind of transitioned like since I started taking this seriously and like writing like really like, oh, I'm gonna do this professionally, because like I'm terrified of like somehow incorporating something. Like I'm worried that I'm gonna like take something in and then it's gonna sit in my brain, and then in 2 years I'm gonna go, I have this original idea, and I'm gonna make a thing, and then someone's gonna be like, that's fucking Hellboy. Like what?
Right.
It's like whatever. So like I really try to stay away from like reading anything other than the same like 6 books that I read like every year, which 3 of are The Lord of the Rings. So like and The Hobbit is the 4th one. So really it's only like 2 other books. Like that's it. So I really try to like keep myself from like doing too much of that. But there's enough inspiration in my brain from the first 25 years before I was making comics of just absorbing Hellboy and absorbing like all this shit that I don't need it anymore. Like I don't need any more. It's burned in my brain.
So when are we going to have the Warcorns have to head to Mount Catastrophe and destroy a necklace, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It's coming soon, right?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe like we have like the Wolves of St. Augustine, or we have like Warcorn's Wild Hunt. Like just Warcorns in Hell. Like
there we go.
Just take all my
2
favorite
horns?
Hellboy stories and just like
a bicorn instead of a unicorn, and get a bicorn.
Yeah, just fucking. Yeah, he's like, I'm so badass, I got 2. Yeah, there's like a malfunction. Like, what's funny is you see, like, in the new Warcorn series, like the 4-part series, like, you see, like, before they were unicorns.
Yeah.
And you see the process of them, like, becoming unicorns. And a buddy of mine that, like, saw the book was like, because like in basic, they literally get this shot. Like when you go to basic training in real life, you get the penicillin shot. They call it the peanut butter shot. And it's like they stick a humongous needle in your ass cheek and put penicillin like in your ass. It's like a ball in your butt cheek. And it's the like worst pain that like anybody's ever felt. And in the story, we're like, well, we're going to give them the peanut butter shot, but instead it's going to be like this like fairy glitter liquid.
Yes.
That the minute they get stuck with it, all of a sudden their heads go, and they're like this huge horn shoots out of the thing. So it's like, it's ridiculous.
I love it.
It's so dumb. Everything in that book is so, there's so, what's so funny is that I for the longest time, I've said this in like a bajillion interviews. For the longest time, I was like, you know what? I need to make the next best comic book. Like, I got to make the next Walking Dead.
Right.
Like, I got to make the big thing. And I'm like, you know what? I don't, though. I can write dumb shit over and over and over again. And, like, when I write something, like, the best indicator, my wife reads everything before anybody else. And my wife is brilliant. Like, stud, like, she's, like, goes to, like, an awesome like California university. She's a sociology major. Like she studies like gender and like sexuality, sociology, and like crazy shit that's like way beyond my level of intellect. And like when she reads something and she's like, "This is so dumb," I'm like, "Yes, that's it right there." If she gets that like disgusted, like this is I'm like, that means it's good. Like that to me is the indicator of like I'm doing the right thing.
Oh, know your audience, right? Know your audience.
For real. I'm like, that is not who I'm shooting for. So I'm looking for all the people that are half as smart as she is.
Right, there you go.
So if she thinks it's dumb, they probably think it's pretty funny.
Like if you would ever pick up The Theory of Everything or A Beautiful Mind to watch, I'm not your author. I'm not your author. Don't read any of my stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Now, if you like Half Baked, if you like
Pineapple Express,
Nerds,
maybe
Pineapple Express, yeah, like just dumb nonsense.
Oh, definitely.
That's my demographic.
Hey, you know what? That's if you're a jarhead, you own it, right? You just own it.
Yeah, I'm not a jarhead because I'm not a Marine.
Well, yeah, but
yeah, nice fucking try with that. But this ugly son of a bitch is
a jarhead.
And I'm gonna write about him eating all these crayons all the time.
Exactly.
And make fun of all these other idiots, even that idiot. Yeah. And it's just nonstop. It's just so dumb. Travis would like tell me an idea. He'd be like, "Why is this like this in here?" And I'd be like, "Well, you don't understand. Like, it's because they had to like get this thing from here, and it was like, then this happened, and this happened." And he's like, "Oh my god, it's like so stupid." I'm like, "Exactly."
And he's like, "Print it."
Like, he was like, "This better do well." I guess. Just fucking print it, I guess. That's how I know I'm doing the right thing. If I'm disappointing Travis,
you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Well, we still got 10 people watching us. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow you on social media and on the interwebs.
God, if you're that brave, you can find me on any social media network at Some Writer Guy. Because if you're like read some book, like this is so dumb, I wonder who wrote that. I don't know, some writer guy.
That's great. I love it. So guys, definitely follow Garrett, and you can have a little inside peek on a lot of his antics. I know I've been saving some of the panels you've been teasing from Warcorns, just to throw around at the right time for memes, especially that push. The push one. Oh, I can't wait to use that one. The right time, that one's getting used. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, thanks so much for sorry for the technical difficulties, but thanks so much for joining me this evening.
I sat in the lobby like after the first one messed up. I sat in that other lobby the whole time, and I was all, "Where he went?" I'm like, I'm in here. It says there's like one of 4 people. Like, what? I'm like, I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Well, we finally got it. Like I said, hopefully we'll iron it out a little bit as we start streaming on more platforms like this, too. But, yeah, man, Garrett, it was fantastic talking with you. I'm looking forward to all the new stuff coming out. Devin mentioned that he is super excited that I will be interviewing you tonight because you speak Berker.
Yes, I do.
So give a shout out to Devin.
I love Devin. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait till we can catch back up. We can go out, have a drink, and go to a convention.
There's in Golden Hands.
Uh-huh.
Devin is in that, and
Oh.
and so's Levi, and so's Travis. But in the next arc, Devin has a whole little backstory thing in that, and he only speaks Burkirk.
Oh, I cannot wait for it.
I don't even think Devin knows that yet.
Oh,
yeah,
I love it. He's going to see this and lose it. I can't wait.
Everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy saying? He's like, oh no, there's a burger, man.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks, Garrett. Thank everyone for joining us in the lobby and putting up with us and our patience and our antics. And, this has been another issue of Get to the Point.